Hey guys, welcome to another episode of Create Brevity. This is your host, eDirector, and for this week's episode, I wanted to do a sort of how I get back into alignment episode, but in real time. So while I was actually dealing with something, how I get back into alignment. A lot of people we talk about the process of it a lot, but it's kind of nice to kind of hear it from someone as they're actually having those thought processes. So before we begin, just want to let you guys know that I do offer one-on-one coaching. If you guys need any life coaching support, feel free to check that out. And we also have an amazing blog. I don't know why I keep saying we. I offer an amazing blog on createbrevity.com, which has lots of tips and has some more fleshed out techniques. If you guys are interested in that, please go check out the blog. And like I said, all of that's available on the site at www.createbrevity.com. Okay, so let's begin. So for this week's episode, like I said, I wanted to do something that was kind of in real time, and real time being me right now dealing with a circumstance. And I can see myself, or because I can now at the point, because I've had a lot of practice, where I can view myself as almost objectively, which is where you want to be. Okay, that's kind of the step one. You want to be able to pull yourself out of it enough so that you can kind of have an objective point of view, on what's happening, you can call it your state, you can call it your self-concept. There's lots of words for it. Your identity in this moment, but you want to be a little bit objective about it. So, basically, you're going to notice a circumstance, okay? And in my case, it's a couple of things that I wanted to happen. Very small things, probably to other people, but they were important to me. They didn't happen quite the way I wanted to. People have said certain things to me that you could read as being rude, right? You could read them as being, I wouldn't even want to say offensive, but kind of just, it's not what I wanted in terms of a response, okay? And some people, I just feel like, oh, they're just being too inquisitive, they're just being too much for me. So that kind of weirded me out. And then like I said, I had certain plans and they didn't go the way that I wanted them to, and I was disappointed in myself, and so on. So those are the circumstances that I'm currently dealing with. And you can apply these to anything, okay? Maybe you did not get the answer that you wanted back from a client. Maybe you feel a little bit rebuffed by your SP, okay? Or by some friends in your life. They're not responding the way that you think that they should, right? So they're not meeting your expectations, okay? So when it first happens, you're of course potentially irritable. It chafes a little bit for us not to get what we want. We want the certainty that we're gonna be successful, that we're gonna have the things that we desire. So when it feels like that's being kind of taken away, we feel pulled along, right, by our emotions, by our feelings, and by our reactions. And I had that feeling. And I felt irritable, and I knew right then and there that I had been taken out of the state, which I like to be in, which is kind of a neutral state, like where I'm just moseying along, I'm just in the flow of things. I can brush things off really easily. I'm more chill. I had noticed that. You could think of it as losing your chill a little bit, okay? So once I started noticing that, I started asking myself why was I feeling this way, right? So as I started asking myself, why do I feel irritated? Why do I feel like this person is just being rude to me? Why do I feel this way? And so on and so forth. At first, when I started this process, this was really difficult. It would take me a long time to kind of get to the place where I could be introspective. So don't be alarmed if it takes you a couple of attempts, okay? Especially if the circumstance feels bigger, okay? It can sometimes feel like it's too much and you just need to deal with it. But I had been feeling just icky for a couple of hours. And I don't like that feeling. Okay. But like I said, I was self-aware enough, and I've done enough work and practice on this to know that I'm out of it. I'm out of the game, right? I've taken myself out. So what I started to do, again, after I started being introspective and asking myself those questions, why do I feel this way? I'm obviously trying to protect myself from something. And I realized that because certain people had not met my expectations, I was starting to feel apathetic towards them, right? I was starting to kind of feed into a negative story that I had about them. Okay. I knew I couldn't trust them, it's just this is such a hard thing to do. Why did I think that it was going to be so easy? That sort of thing, where you're just constantly kind of feeding into that story, and it's a negative one. And that was what was making me irritated, because actually I don't really want to be having those thoughts, and I don't want the emotions that get generated because of the thoughts, right? I wasn't dealing with how I really felt, which was disappointed. I was hurt, and also I was scared. When I broke down all of my kind of why do I feel this way, when I really got speculative about it and aware, I have to be honest with myself. The thing that I'm feeling is fear. I felt embarrassed. I felt afraid. I realized I was feeling embarrassed first. That, I've been practicing at this so long, and it was just kind of like, am I not good at this? I did like a gut check. And then I felt really embarrassed that I couldn't make this work for myself. And then I realized another layer to that is that I had very high expectations of certain people, and I had expectations of their response to me. And when they didn't meet them, I felt disappointed, and of course hurt, but it was embarrassment. It was embarrassment. And when I broke down my embarrassment, I realized that what I was really feeling was fear. Fear, general fears about manifesting, sure, a little, because even though I've been doing this for a long time now, I still feel it, Every once in a while, something will happen and it'll kind of check me, and I'll feel checked. And that feeling of being checked always scares me. And it's kind of an unnatural state of being. So I'm being very honest with you guys about that, because I feel like a lot of times people are so hard on themselves, over every little thing. And I used to be that kind of person. And now I can tell when I am being too hard on myself, when I am being a perfectionist, I'm kind of going in on myself, that is actually a net negative reaction to something, that I am not comfortable in that moment, and I never have been. And that's something that I deal with and am dealing with kind of on a regular basis, right? It doesn't happen as often, it doesn't. But every now and again, it'll pop into my head, it'll pop into my heart, and it's something that I have to deal with. And honestly, every time I deal with it, and this might sound cliche, but it feels like I'm leveling up. It does feel like once I do this, like I'm gonna get to the next level, right? I'm gonna be able to become more free, a little bit stronger mentally. It's a workout. It feels like a workout, okay? And sometimes I don't want to work out. I want to go back to bed. I want to run from my problems. But I do know enough to know that you can't really run away from your problems, because you can't run away from yourself. And at the end of the day, our problems are something to be grateful for. They're really helping us. They're helping us relieve some of our resistance. So, anyways, kind of back to the steps. So I felt embarrassed, and I realized it was because I was scared. I was scared about the manifesting process. I was scared that my circumstances were going to beat me, that they did beat me. And that's when I had to ask myself, right now, am I acting like the person, okay, who gets everything that they want? Am I feeling like that? And the answer is no, because the person who has everything, the person who is moving forward, right? A happy person doesn't have this prolonged fear, right? I'm making the 3D mean something about me as a person overall. So I'm making it mean that I'm good enough. If the 3D works out, then I'm good enough. Then I'm doing it. And the truth is, it doesn't work like that, right? We've talked about this. There is nothing in the world that's going to show you that you're good enough other than you. Okay? And it's always a choice in this moment. Now that I have released a lot of the emotion behind it, and I did that by acknowledging that that's what I was feeling, that I was scared, okay? Sometimes when I feel a lot of fear or the circumstances are bigger, I cry. I actually have a moment to myself where I do cry. I've learned over the years that stuffing my feelings down, back where they came from, doesn't work. It actually makes me feel worse, and I cry harder and far longer the more I stuff. It's actually better for me just to release the emotion, okay? For some people, they like to work out. I know people who, they go to one of those, I think they call them like deconstructed rooms where you can just break things, okay? And they get their worked out their emotions that way, okay? Because they know, I'm going to give myself this hour to do this, okay? It doesn't have anything to do with my manifestation. It's okay. I'm doing this for me so I can work out I can take out the explosive part of my feelings. And then I'll be done. Okay. But that's a decision and that's a choice that you're making, okay? Afterward, though, you have to make another choice. Am I going to keep doing this where I'm going to be upset over the 3D? Or am I just going to, now that I've taken the edge off, right, make another choice? I'm going to choose not to be a victim, okay? I'm going to get back on the horse. I'm going to get back into my decision, right? That's kind of where the work is. Because, again, it feels nice sometimes to give in to your feelings. It's like, to just be like, ugh, you know? And the reason it does is because for a lot of people, that's kind of their main kind of emotional state is a little bit apathetic, a little bit depressed, a little bit down, okay? Maybe a little negative, maybe even a little paranoid, okay? To where it feels like, I knew I was right. You can't trust anyone, right? Yes, and you get a little zing out of that. But what you have to do is you have to love not feeling that more, okay, than anything else. You have to love where you're going to be, okay? Your 4G, okay? Your manifestation, your goals, okay? You have to love that and want that more. You have to love you more than giving in to your emotions, okay? For a prolonged period of time. We don't want to make that your default, and we don't want you to get used to it, okay? There's nothing to get used to about crappy circumstances, right? So, again, after I took the edge out of my embarrassment, out of my fear, I, once again, had a choice to make. Was I going to stay here, or was I going to get back on the horse? Was I going to make a decision? And of course, I decided to go ahead and get back on my decision. That is my decision to have the things that I'm going to have, okay? To let myself believe not only do I deserve them, but that they are in fact mine, okay? And sometimes if your circumstances are bigger, this is a conversation you're going to have multiple times with yourself, right? Or if you want to think, if a thought process you're going to have to go through a couple of times, because sometimes you think you've taken off all the edges you need to on this emotional ride that you're on, okay? But then it'll come back around, okay? I remember thinking that there was a time when I first started this journey where I thought, oh my God, I can't wait till I get to the point where I don't have to do this anymore, okay? And as I get further along, I realize that's kind of never gonna happen. I'm a human being, okay, and I have feelings. So it's never gonna come to a point where I just don't care about anything. It's never gonna get to that point. And it's not supposed to, right? I'm supposed to actually enjoy this, okay? And sometimes I actually do enjoy it. You know, there's a point where it really feels nice to be able to release some of my resistance. And I've gotten there, okay? But If you find that you're not having a good time of it and it's hard to be grateful, I get it, right? Take the edge off, okay? Take the edge off. Remember, this is your reality, okay? You don't have to do anything that you don't want to do, okay? You're not a victim. If you find that this is too hard for right now, I get it. That's okay. Take a full 24 hours. Take 2 days, okay? And then you can come back to your decision. It doesn't ruin anything, okay? I just want to say that. You're not going to go backwards. Which by the way, those 2 thoughts are thoughts that I had, okay? When I first started this process too. And sometimes I'm slightly embarrassed to admit, sometimes I still have that thought. It's like an errant thought, and I can bat it away pretty quickly because I now have way too much evidence, okay? But nevertheless, okay, every now and again it'll come up, and that's because our brains are wired a certain way, okay? Most people are set to something negative, yes, but even the people who have sort of the internal work already done, as human beings, we tend to notice the negative first. At some point in our, evolution, it worked for us. It saved lives. It stopped us from going into a saber-toothed tiger's den, okay? But, now we live in a world where that's not as important. But it's hard for us to kind of shut that off. We have to practice. So it's okay. If that thought pops into your head, oh my God, what if this isn't going to work? What if I'm not going to get my manifestation? What if I pushed it back because I just cried? Okay, I delayed it and I don't want to delay it. I want you to take a breath and ask yourself, is this the emotional state of someone who has everything they want, who has that promotion? Is this the emotional state of someone who got into the university that they want to get into, okay, who has their SP? And the answer, as you'll probably know already, the answer is no to all of those questions. You wouldn't be doubting it because it's already done, right? So I know some people are like, well, how do I ignore the 3D? The 3D is real. The 3D is real. It's one place to anchor yourself, okay? But again, this is where it takes practice. This is where the work is. You have to want, okay, your manifestation. You have to want, okay, your success, your goals more, okay, than you want to react to this, more than you want this 3D, okay? I know some of you guys say that you want your 4G more, but I gotta be honest with you, okay? When you really want your 4G more, okay, it can hurt because you're gonna have to like rip yourself out of this and stop reacting and go there. But what you have to realize is that once again, okay, this can all change quite rapidly. Your 3D reality can change very rapidly with a phone call, with a text message, with an email, right? You cannot live for that though, right? You can't live for the phone call. You can't live for the emails. You can't live for the text messages, okay, that are only going to tell you what you want to hear, okay? Because then you are a victim to those things, okay? You're being dragged along by that momentum, not on your own. You're going to set your own pace, okay? You are. You're going to set your own internal pace, okay, of what feels comfortable for you. And it is very scary to put your foot down on that because it's kind of like, what if nothing follows me where I want to go, okay? But what I'm telling you is have faith in yourself, okay? Have faith in your ability to change your surroundings, okay? And know that your 4G is just as real, okay, as your 3D. Just because you're here and this feels more real, okay, in this moment, doesn't mean your 4G is not happening. It doesn't mean that that's not real too, okay? Have faith in yourself. Let it catch up, okay? And if you find that you just cannot stop thinking about your circumstances, this is the next thing. So once I made peace with my fear, going back to the steps, okay, right after that little bit of a detour, after I dealt with the edge and I realized I was dealing with embarrassment and fear, I just let that be there for a while, okay? I knew I was dealing with that. I knew I was self-aware enough to know that I was not in my healthiest state emotionally, okay? And I went ahead and I started doing stuff that I know that I can do in my 3D, okay? That is gonna contribute to my day. For example, cleaning my room, okay? Exercising, cleaning your house even, okay, if you have the time. Or just organizing your computer files, okay? Anything to get your mind off of it. Something that you've been putting off. Go ahead and do that, okay? Feel what it feels like to put one foot in front of the other, okay? And make a decision about something. Feel what it feels like to go, you know what, I'm going to get my haircut tomorrow. I'm going to make an appointment. I'm doing it. Once you start doing that, you're generating, again, a momentum for yourself, right? Momentum away from your current mindset towards something a little bit more productive, okay? If you do that enough, there's this great quote by Maria Rainer. I believe she wrote the book Letters to a Young Artist, but she talks about living through the problem. If you find yourself living through the problem, you'll eventually find yourself living through the solution. And that's a great way, kind of, to get your mind off the 3D at first, when you're kind of dealing with it and it's a little bit, Now, what I don't recommend, okay, that's what I call those things like doing something for yourself, making decisions, making small ones, practicing what it feels like to kind of get that momentum of making a decision, getting it, making a decision, doing it. Practicing that kind of thing, I think, is great. What I wouldn't recommend is you taking any action to confirm your bias. Because the way you're feeling right now, even if the people around you confirmed what you asked them to confirm about you, you'd be irritated, okay? You'd hear what? Only the parts that were negative. So they might agree with you that you're an awesome person, but they might say something at the end and that's going to trigger you, okay? And if you're anything like me, when you revisit this, when you're in a better state and you revisit this, it's embarrassing. It's kind of like, oh, why did I react to that, right? So, which is just going to make you feel worse, potentially. So just keep it to a minimum, okay? Remember you're not a victim, okay? And take some healthy actions in the 3D, right? Do something nice for yourself. Maybe cook dinner, right? Fix something. That always makes me feel better when I have something to fix, right? Because it's kind of like, oh, I did this for myself, right? Laundry, that kind of thing. It's the small things, but they really, really do add up, and they make you feel like you are in your decision, okay? So that's basically how I dealt with it in real time, and what I found myself doing after I kind of did some healthy 3D things. I realized that I was feeling a lot better, okay? I was much closer, okay, to the state that I like to be in, which is a very neutral state, which is a nice chilled out place. And as I got closer to it, again, I was able to really see, okay, yeah, this, and this, the reactions that I was having, the emotions that were coming up, it was because I was scared. It's because I was embarrassed. I can see now that person, their intention wasn't to make me feel bad, okay? This circumstance, it popped up, but I took it harder than I should have, honestly. Because at the end of the day, it's going to be okay. I got this, I'm going to get it, okay? And you get there, again, by moving yourself back into the state, okay? It took me a couple of hours to do that, okay? And sometimes you can do it in 5 minutes, okay? Because you're just deciding, I want to feel better. And sometimes that's enough and you can get out of it. Like, just snap my fingers, I'm back in a beneficial state. Sometimes it'll take a few hours. Sometimes it's taken me a day or two, genuinely, to kind of get back there, okay? Because I had to release resistance after resistance, crying, right? Because what you're doing is you're letting the feelings be there. And sometimes it's a lot of feelings, okay? Sometimes you gotta take the edge off more than once, right? So to speak. But in real time, okay, those are the steps. And that is exactly what I do to get myself back into the state, okay? Back into an open place where I'm ready to go, I'm ready to receive. I feel strong mentally, okay? And like I said, guys, it's always a choice. As I said in the last podcast, right? Your feelings, your emotions, they are a choice that you're making, okay? You're choosing to deal with them, okay, in a certain type of way. It's not your choice that you have feelings and emotions. You're a human being, okay? You just have them. That's real. However, it is your choice how you let them define you. It's your choice what perspective you put on them, right? Okay, and like we talked about in the last episode, think of your feelings like a paper cut. It's that prickly thing that's there to let you know this is a tender spot. This needs TLC. This needs a little bit of love, okay? So don't stuff it down and don't ignore it, okay? Put some antiseptic on it. Let it see the light of day, okay? Look at the paper cut, okay? And you'll see it's smaller than what you thought it was. It's already a little bit more healed than what you would have anticipated, okay? And as it starts healing up, you're going to get back to feeling strong again. It's going to get back to just being regular skin again, okay? So keep that in mind. Don't be hard on yourselves, okay? And like I said, take the edge off your feelings, okay? Deal with them. Recognize that perspective, okay, that you're looking at them, if it's hurting, if you're feeling apathetic, if you're feeling just put upon, okay, and stepped on, you're coming at it from a negative place. Your perspective is skewed. You're feeling like a victim, okay? And that's not what you are. That's a choice, okay? Exercise, clean, make yourself a nice meal, be kind to yourself, be introspective, okay? And again, be gentle with when communicating with people, okay? Just communicate with them only as much as you're comfortable. Don't feel like you have to do things like, I have to get out of the house, I have to do this, otherwise this is gonna hurt too much, right? Ask yourself why you're feeling like you have to do anything, okay? But that being said, any kind of helpful things that you can do that is going to be productive for you, it's going to make you feel better, that's always a nice thing to do for yourself, right? So kind of deal with that as you will, as is your habit, okay? But I would very much recommend, doing something nice for yourself in that moment. And sometimes volunteering helps. Doing something nice for other people can really bring you back into gratitude and can kind of shift your perspective, okay? So once you've kind of shifted and you're able to be self-aware, okay, ask yourself, do I want my manifestation more than I want to feel like this, right? Do I want to feel better more than I want to feel worse? Do I have the courage? Do I have the strength to choose myself one more time? Do I have the courage to choose my future one more time? Give yourself permission to pick yourself again. Have the courage of the moment. Build up your momentum again, okay? And then you just keep going and just wait for your 4G to snap your fingers and, snap, crackle, pop back in your 3D. So I really hope this helped. It's a little bit of a longer podcast episode, but I thought you guys would want something more in real time. The kind of the thoughts and the feelings that come up when you start dealing with your circumstances. So have a great day, love and light, and thanks for listening as always.